The small-town school stood at the corner of a quiet street. Every morning, children arrived with their school bags, laughing and chatting with friends. In the middle of all the noise, a boy named Amir walked slowly toward the entrance. He was not the tallest or the smartest in his class, but he had eyes full of curiosity. He noticed small details around him, like how the school's flowers bloomed after rain or how the library books were always arranged in a certain way. Amir's mother, Maryam, worked in the same school. She wore a simple uniform and carried a large cleaning bucket with mops and cloths. Her day began earlier than most teachers. While the classrooms were still empty, she would sweep the floors, dust the shelves, and wipe the windows until they shone. She worked quietly, often humming a soft tune to herself. Students knew Maryam as the kind janitor who sometimes gave them extra chalk if they ran out, or helped them find lost pencils. But no one thought much beyond that, even Amir's friends never imagined that his mother could be more than the person who kept the school clean. Amir had been struggling in class for a while. His grades were average, and sometimes he made careless mistakes in reading and writing. But recently, something changed. He began answering questions with more confidence. His homework was neat, and he solved problems faster. His teacher, Miss Sarah, noticed the difference. One afternoon, after the last bell rang, Miss Sarah called Amir to her desk. The classroom was empty except for the sound of chairs being pushed back into place. "Amir," she said gently, "I have seen how much you are improving in your lessons. Did you get a tutor recently?" Amir's face lit up. "Yes," he said proudly. "My tutor helps me every night after dinner. She explains things in a way that makes sense to me." "That is wonderful," Miss Sarah replied, smiling. "Who is your tutor? I would like to thank them." Before Amir could answer, the school bell for after-school dismissal rang again. Miss Sarah let him go, but the thought stayed in her mind. She wanted to tell the principal about Amir's progress. The next morning, the principal, Mr. Aslam, called Amir to his office. His office was a small room with a desk covered in papers and a large wooden chair. A clock ticked softly on the wall, and sunlight came through the window. Aslam adjusted his glasses and said, "Amir, your teacher tells me you have been doing very well lately. I am happy to hear that. She also said you have a tutor. Who is helping you?" Amir hesitated for a moment. Before he could answer, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Mr. Aslam said. The door opened, and Maryam stepped inside. She was holding a small broom and a dustpan. She had been cleaning the hallway outside and had heard Mr. Aslam's voice. "Sorry to disturb you, sir," Maryam said politely. "I will come back later." Mr. Aslam looked at her for a moment and then asked, "Maryam, are you Amir's tutor?" Amir smiled proudly. "Yes, Principal Sahib. My mother is my tutor." Mr. Aslam raised his eyebrows. He knew Maryam as a quiet janitor who worked without complaint. She was always on time, always polite, and never caused any trouble. He had never imagined she would also be the reason behind Amir's sudden improvement. "How do you manage that?" Mr. Aslam asked with curiosity. Maryam placed her cleaning tools by the wall and stood with her hands folded. "Sir, after I finish my work here, I go home, make dinner, and then I sit with Amir. I use books from the school library to teach him. I may not have a degree like the teachers here, but I know how to explain things. My father was a school teacher before he passed away, and I learned a lot from him. I believe every child can do better if someone takes the time to guide them." There was a pause in the room. The ticking of the clock seemed louder. Mr. Aslam looked at her with a thoughtful expression, as if he was remembering something from a long time ago. "Maryam," he said slowly, "did you study at government high school when you were young?" "Yes, sir," she replied. "I had to leave in my last year because my family needed me to work." Mr. Aslam leaned back in his chair. "I remember now. You won the district essay competition when you were a teenager. You had a gift for learning. Many of the teachers said you could have gone far if you had continued your studies." Maryam gave a small smile. "Life had other plans, sir, but I still believe education is the most valuable thing we can give a child. That is why I teach." Amir. Every night, Amir sat quietly, listening to the conversation. He had always known his mother was smart, but he never realized she had once been a top student. Mr. Aslam nodded slowly. It is a rare thing to see such dedication, Maryam. You are not only keeping this school clean, but you are also shaping your son's future. I respect that. Maryam thanked him and picked up her broom. Again, but before she left, Mr. Aslam said, Maryam, I want to talk to you after school today. There is something I wish to discuss about your skills. As she walked out, Amir's curiosity grew. What could the principal want to talk to his mother about? Maryam herself was wondering the same thing. When Amir returned to class, his friends asked why the principal had called him. He just smiled and said, My mother is my tutor. His friends looked surprised. They could not believe the school janitor could also be someone who taught so well. That day, while Maryam swept the last classroom, she thought about her life. She remembered the days when she used to dream about becoming a teacher. She remembered sitting in her father's small study room, reading books late into the night. She also remembered the day she left school, feeling both sad and determined to still use her knowledge somehow. Now, looking at Amir's bright eyes and growing confidence, she felt proud. She might not be standing in front of a classroom as a teacher, but in her own way, she was still shaping a mind, still passing on what she had learned. What she did not know was that the conversation with the principal would lead to something unexpected, something that could change both her and Amir's future. The day passed slowly for Maryam. Every quarter she cleaned felt quieter than usual. Even the children seemed to sense that something unusual was happening. She thought about the principal's words from the morning. He had asked to speak with her after school. Maryam wondered what it could be. She had taught Amir with patience and love, but she never expected anyone to notice so deeply. When the last bell rang, the classrooms emptied quickly. Children ran out to meet their parents or friends, leaving the hallways silent. Maryam placed her cleaning tools neatly in the storage room and headed toward the principal's office. Amir, curious and eager, followed behind, his school bag bouncing lightly on his shoulder. Amir, stay outside for a moment, Mr. Aslam said gently when they arrived. Maryam nodded and waited. She entered the office, feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement. Please, sit down, Mr. Aslam said, pointing to the chair across from his desk. Maryam obeyed, placing her hands on her lap. Her heart beat slightly faster. She had been called to the principal's office many times as a janitor, but this felt different. First, Maryam, Mr. Aslam began, I want to say thank you. Your work with Amir has been exceptional. He has shown remarkable improvement in a very short time. It is rare to see such dedication. You are not only helping your son, but also inspiring other students. In the school, Maryam lowered her gaze slightly. Thank you, sir. I just want him to have the best education I can give. I know I may not have gone to college, but I know how to help him learn. Mr. Aslam nodded. He looked at her with thoughtful eyes. That is exactly what makes you special. Many people focus only on degrees or certificates. You focus on the student. I have been thinking about how your skills could help many children here. I have a proposal for you. Maryam straightened in her chair. A proposal, sir? Yes? Mr. Aslam said with a small smile. I want to hire you officially as a teaching assistant. You will help children who are struggling in their lessons. Just as you have helped Amir, we can provide you with some training, and you will work with our teachers. You will not just help your son, but other children too. Maryam blinked in surprise. Her heart skipped a beat. She had never imagined that her simple efforts would lead to something like this. She thought about the extra work, the long hours, and the responsibility, yet a spark of hope lit within her. She could finally do what she had always wanted. Teach, sir, she said softly. I do not know if I can do it. I have never worked as a teacher before. Mr. Aslam leaned forward. Maryam, teaching is not just about degrees. It is about understanding, patience, and love for students. You have shown all these qualities. If you are willing to try, I believe you will succeed. Miriam took a deep breath. The thought of guiding more children, of sharing knowledge she had learned from her father, made her feel alive. She nodded slowly. "I will try, sir. I will do my best." The principal smiled. "That is all I ask. We will start training next week. You will be paired with a teacher in each subject. The children who need extra help will come to you. You will have the chance to make a real difference." Miriam thanked him and left the office. Her steps light. Outside, Amir ran to her and grabbed her hand. "Mother, what did he say?" he asked, eyes shining with curiosity. Miriam crouched down and looked into his eyes. "He wants me to teach other children too, Amir. Just like I teach you." Amir's face lit up. "That is amazing, Mother. You will be a teacher. The principal thinks you are very smart." Miriam smiled and hugged him. "We will work together. Amir, you will continue to learn, and I will help other children as well." The next few days were filled with preparation. Miriam spent her evenings reviewing lessons, practicing how to explain concepts clearly, and organizing her teaching notes. She felt nervous, but she also felt a sense of purpose she had not felt in years. Amir noticed the change in her and helped whenever he could. Sometimes he would quiz her, pretending to be a student, and Miriam would laugh at his questions. The first day of her new role arrived. Miriam wore a clean uniform, different from her janitor clothes. She carried a small bag with notebooks, pencils, and some teaching charts she had prepared herself. The school staff welcomed her warmly. Teachers introduced her to their students, and the children looked at her with curiosity. Many had never seen Miriam outside her janitor role. Her first student was a boy named Sammy. He struggled with reading and often felt frustrated when he could not keep up with his classmates. Miriam sat beside him and smiled gently. "Hello, Sammy. I will help you. We will take small steps together, and soon you will read more easily." Sammy looked at her hesitantly, but soon felt comforted by her calm voice. Miriam used stories, pictures, and games to make learning fun. Slowly, Sammy began to read aloud, and each word he spoke made Miriam smile with pride. She realized that teaching was not just about books. It was about patience, encouragement, and trust. Throughout the day, Miriam worked with several children, each with different challenges. Some struggled with writing, others with math, and some just needed guidance too. Focus. She adapted her teaching style for each student, remembering how she had helped Amir. By the end of the day, the children had learned new things, and Miriam felt a deep satisfaction. When the school bell rang, the children left with smiles, waving goodbye to her. She walked to the principal's office to report on her day. Mr. Aslam listened carefully, nodding with approval. "You did well today, Miriam. The children responded to your patience and encouragement. You have a gift for this work." Miriam felt a warm glow of happiness. She thought about her father and how he had inspired her to value education. She realized that even though life had taken her on a different path, she could still make a difference. That evening, as she and Amir walked home together, he held her hand tightly. "Mother, I am proud of you. You are helping so many children. I want to help too. I want to be a good student for you and make you proud every day." Miriam looked at him and smiled. "You already make me proud, Amir. Together, we will learn and grow, and together, we will help others grow as well." The sun set slowly behind the town, casting long shadows on the streets. Miriam felt a sense of hope and purpose. She had started as a janitor, unnoticed and quiet, but now she had a chance to change lives. She knew there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew she had the patience, love, and determination to overcome them. In her heart, she made a promise. She would not only teach Amir, but also guide every child who needed help. She would give them the encouragement she had once received from her father, and she knew that with time, her work would create a ripple of change, inspiring other students and even teachers to believe in the power of dedication and care. Miriam's life was changing in ways she had never imagined. The janitor who taught her son after school had become a symbol of hope and learning. The town would soon know her not just as Miriam the janitor, but as Miriam the teacher, the guide. and the inspiration for children who wanted to succeed. That night, Miriam sat with Amir, going over his lessons and planning the next day. She felt tired but happy. She knew that the unbelievable change had only just begun, and the future held many surprises for both her and Amir. The next morning, Miriam woke up earlier than usual. The sunlight had just touched the rooftops, and the streets of the town were still quiet. She prepared breakfast for Amir and packed a small bag, with extra notebooks, pencils, and a few flashcards she had made. Amir was already up, brushing his teeth and humming a tune from school. "Mother, I am ready," he said with a smile. "I want to practice more before school starts." Miriam smiled back. "We will practice together, Amir. But remember, we also need to leave some energy for your classes after breakfast." They walked to the school together. The morning air was fresh, and the sound of birds filled the streets. Children were gathering in small groups, laughing and talking about their favorite games. Miriam noticed some students looking at her curiously, whispering among themselves. She knew they had heard she was now helping students with their lessons. She felt a little nervous, but also proud. When they arrived, the principal greeted them warmly. "Miriam, I'm glad you are here. Today, we have a special challenge for you." Miriam tilted her head, unsure what he meant. Some students in the middle grades are struggling with reading and writing. They are very shy and often avoid asking for help. I want you to work with them. It will be a test of patience and creativity, Mr. Islam explained. Miriam nodded. "I will do my best, sir." The first student she met was a girl named Lena. Lena had big, thoughtful eyes, but she rarely spoke in class. Her notebook was often empty, and she seemed afraid of making mistakes. Miriam sat beside her and smiled gently. "Hello, Lena. I am here to help you," Miriam said softly. "We will take small steps together. You do not have to be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes help us learn." Lena looked at her quietly. Miriam noticed how her hands trembled slightly as she held her pencil. Miriam placed a small, colorful notebook in front of her. "Let's start with a story. You read one sentence, and I will help you with the rest." Lena hesitated for a moment, but finally whispered the first words. Miriam encouraged her, praising her for each word she read correctly. Slowly, Lena's confidence grew, and by the end of the session, she had read an entire paragraph. Miriam felt a warm sense of satisfaction. She knew that even small victories mattered. Next, Miriam worked with a boy named Fahad. Fahad loved numbers, but struggled with writing sentences. He often rushed through his work and became frustrated when he could not get the words right. Miriam showed him a method she had learned from her father. She wrote down a few words and asked Fahad to connect them into sentences. At first, Fahad made many mistakes, but Miriam never scolded him. She smiled and said, "It is okay. Try again. You are learning, and learning takes time." By the end of the session, Fahad had written a short story about a dog and a boy. Miriam read it aloud with him, and his eyes sparkled with pride. She realized that patience and encouragement could open doors that seemed closed for a long time. Throughout the day, Miriam faced many challenges. Some children were stubborn and refused to cooperate. Some were quiet and shy, while others were easily distracted. She adapted her approach for each student, using games, storytelling, and visual aids to make lessons interesting. She even asked Amir to help her prepare small teaching cards for math problems. He felt proud to assist his mother and learn new strategies himself in the process. By midday, Miriam felt tired but satisfied. She noticed how the children had started to smile, to ask questions, and even to help each other. The atmosphere in the classrooms was different from before. Learning had become enjoyable, and students who once avoided reading or writing were now eager to participate. At lunchtime, Miriam joined the staff in the teacher's lounge. Some teachers looked surprised to see her there in her new role. "Good morning, Miriam," said Mrs. Heine, a senior teacher. "I saw how you worked with the students this morning. You have a special way with children. They respond to you in ways I have never seen before." Miriam smiled politely. "Thank you, Mrs. Heine." I just try to understand them and make learning simple and fun." Another teacher, Mr. Raza, added, "You have patience, and patience is rare. Some children need more than books. They need encouragement and support. You give them that." Miriam felt a wave of happiness. She realized that her work was being noticed, not just by the principal, but by her colleagues as well. She had started as a janitor, often overlooked, but now her efforts were appreciated and valued. After lunch, Miriam returned to the classrooms. She focused on a group of students struggling with math. She used simple tricks and visual aids to explain multiplication and division. Some students who had previously avoided numbers were now asking questions and solving problems with excitement. Miriam encouraged them to think creatively, to use patterns, and to believe in their abilities. By the end of the school day, Miriam felt exhausted but fulfilled. She had faced a real challenge and she had succeeded. The children had learned, laughed, and grown under her guidance. She walked to the principal's office to report her day. Islam listened carefully as Miriam explained the progress the students had made. "I am impressed, Miriam," he said. "You handled every situation with wisdom and patience. The children are responding well. You are making a difference in their lives." Miriam felt a sense of pride she had never known before. She thought about her father, about her late nights studying with him, and about the lessons she had learned in life. She realized that her past experiences had prepared her for this moment. When Miriam left the office, Amir ran to meet her. "Mother, the children look so happy, Lena read so well, and Fad wrote a story." Miriam hugged him. "Yes, Amir, they did very well, and you helped me too. Your support makes me stronger." As they walked home, Miriam reflected on the day. She knew that the road ahead would have more challenges. Some students might resist learning, and some days might feel harder than others. But she also knew that her patience, love, and dedication could overcome these obstacles. At home, Miriam prepared dinner, and Amir helped set the table. They sat together, reviewing the lessons of the day. Miriam smiled as Amir asked questions. Eager to learn more, she realized that teaching was not just about giving knowledge. It was about creating curiosity, confidence, and joy in learning. That night, Miriam wrote notes for the next day. She thought of new ways to make lessons fun and engaging. She also thought about how she could help more students who struggled silently. In her heart, she made a promise to herself. She would not give up, no matter how difficult the challenges became. Miriam had started her journey as a janitor, quietly working in the background. Now, she was a teacher, a guide, and an inspiration. She knew that every child she helped was a step toward a brighter future, not only for them, but for the whole school. The sun set quietly over the town, and Miriam and Amir finished their evening lessons. They laughed, they learned, and they dreamed of the days to come. Miriam felt a sense of hope, knowing that the unbelievable change in her life was just beginning. The path ahead was full of challenges, but also full of opportunities to grow, inspire, and transform lives. The next morning, Miriam woke early as usual. The streets were quiet and filled with soft sunlight. Birds sang gently from the trees, and the air felt fresh and calm. Miriam prepared breakfast while Amir helped by setting the table. "Mother, I hope today is another good day," Amir said as he poured milk into his glass. Miriam smiled. "Every day is a chance to learn, Amir. Let us see what today brings." After breakfast, they walked to school. Miriam noticed that the children in the corridors were whispering and looking toward the principal's office. She wondered if there was some event happening that she did not know about. Amir held her hand tightly, curious as well. When they arrived, Mr. Islam greeted them. "Good morning, Miriam, Amir. Today, we have a very special visitor. She is from the education department and will observe the school for a few hours. I want you to show her how you work with the students." Miriam felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She had never been observed by someone from the education department before. She wanted to make a good impression, but she also knew that her focus should be on helping the students, not on pleasing the visitor. The visitor arrived shortly after. She was a woman in her 40s, with a warm smile and kind eyes. She introduced herself as Ms. Nadia. Miriam greeted her politely and explained her role at the school. "I am excited to see your work." "Miriam," Ms. Nadia said, "I have heard wonderful things about you and your dedication to Amir and the other students." Miriam felt encouraged. She began by taking Ms. Nadia to a classroom where several students were waiting for extra help with reading. Among them were Lena and Fahad, who had shown progress in Miriam's previous sessions. Miriam introduced the children and began the lesson. "Today, we will read a story about friendship," Miriam said, placing colorful pictures on the board. "Each of you will take turns reading a paragraph. If you find a word difficult, I will help you." The children were nervous at first, but Miriam's calm voice and warm smile encouraged them. Lena went first. She read slowly, but Miriam praised her effort at each step. Fahad followed, and he added his own excitement to the story by asking questions about the characters. Ms. Nadia watched quietly, taking notes. She seemed impressed by the way Miriam engaged each child individually, giving attention to their strengths and weaknesses. Miriam noticed her smile and felt more confident after the reading session. Miriam moved to a small group of students who struggled with math. She used small objects to explain addition and subtraction, turning each problem into a mini-game. The children laughed and tried to solve the problems with enthusiasm. "See, Amir," Miriam said softly, "sometimes learning can be fun if we look at it as a game." Amir nodded and helped the younger children arrange objects for counting. Miriam watched them and felt a sense of joy. She realized that teaching was not only about lessons, but also about creating confidence and curiosity in the students. By midday, Ms. Nadia had seen Miriam work with several students, each with different challenges. She asked questions about Miriam's methods and praised her patience and creativity. "You have a natural gift, Miriam," Ms. Nadia said. "Many trained teachers would not be able to connect with students as you do. You understand them, and that is very rare." Miriam blushed slightly. "Thank you, Mom. I only try to help each child in the way I know is best." After lunch, Miriam returned to the classrooms with Ms. Nadia. They walked through the hallways, where students were working on writing exercises and reading aloud. Some students ran to Miriam to show their work, and she encouraged them warmly. "See, Amir," she said quietly, "every child has potential. We just need to help them find it." Amir nodded, feeling proud of his mother. He noticed how other students looked up to her, not just as a teacher, but as someone who cared deeply about them. During the last session, Miriam faced a group of students who were particularly challenging. They were restless and often interrupted each other. Miriam took a deep breath and reminded herself to remain patient. She began with a storytelling exercise using colorful charts and simple words. Slowly, the children became interested. They asked questions, shared their thoughts, and listened to Miriam's guidance. Even the most restless students began participating, and by the end of the session, they had completed a small writing assignment with smiles on their faces. Ms. Nadia clapped softly. "Miriam, you have done an amazing job today. You handled every situation with care, patience, and creativity." The students responded to your encouragement and respect. "You have a rare talent for teaching." Miriam felt a mix of pride and humility. She thought about the long hours she had spent teaching Amir at home, the sacrifices she had made, and the love she had poured into helping him learn. Now, she realized that her efforts could reach many more children. After the visitor left, Mr. Islam called Miriam to his office again. "I am very impressed with your work," he said. "The education department will recommend your methods to other schools. They are looking for teachers who can make real differences, and you are exactly what they need." Miriam felt a sense of excitement and responsibility. She knew that this opportunity could change her life, but more importantly, it could help children who needed guidance and support. When she returned home with Amir, they discussed the day's events. Amir was eager to hear every detail about Ms. Nadia and her impressions of Miriam's teaching. "Mother, she liked you so much," Amir exclaimed, She said you are a natural teacher. That is amazing. Miriam smiled and hugged him. We work together today. Amir, you helped me too. Remember, we are a team. We can do great things when we help each other. That evening, Miriam reviewed her lessons for the next day. She thought about new ways to help students, ways to make lessons more fun and engaging. She also thought about the children who were still shy or afraid to ask questions. She made a promise to herself. She would reach every child, no matter how difficult it was. As she sat quietly, Miriam felt a wave of gratitude. She had started as a janitor, unnoticed and quiet, but now she was a teacher, inspiring children and even adults around her. She realized that life could surprise anyone at any moment, and sometimes those surprises brought the greatest opportunities. Amir joined her with a notebook full of questions. They worked together, laughing, learning, and dreaming about the future. Miriam knew that the journey ahead would have challenges, but she also knew that patience, love, and dedication could overcome any obstacle. The night passed peacefully. Miriam and Amir went to sleep, feeling happy and ready for the days to come. The school, the children, and the town were slowly starting to see the incredible changes that Miriam's dedication was bringing. The janitor who had quietly cleaned the halls had now become a symbol of hope, patience, and learning. Her story was still unfolding, and the best parts were yet to come. The following week began with a sense of excitement and nervous energy at the school. Miriam woke up early as usual, preparing breakfast for Amir and herself. The warm smell of freshly cooked food filled the small kitchen. Amir helped by placing plates on the table and arranging spoons neatly. "Mother, do you feel nervous today?" Amir asked as he poured milk into his glass. Miriam smiled and shook her head. "A little, yes, Amir, but nervousness is just a sign that something important is happening. It will help me focus." After breakfast, they walked together to school. The streets were lively with children running and talking. Teachers were preparing for their classes, and Miriam noticed students looking at her curiously as they passed. Today, she had a feeling something unusual was about to happen. As they entered the school, Mr. Aslam called Miriam to his office. "Miriam, today we will have a surprise exercise for the students and you. We want to test your teaching methods under unexpected conditions. Some children will be moved to different classrooms, and you will need to help students you have not worked with before." Miriam's heart beat faster. She had worked with students she knew, but now she had to guide children who were strangers to her teaching style. She took a deep breath and nodded. "I will do my best, sir." The first group of students she met was a mix of boys and girls who struggled with reading and writing. Some were shy, others restless, and a few were easily distracted. Miriam knew she had to earn their trust quickly. She greeted them warmly and introduced herself. "Hello, everyone," she said with a smile. "I am Miriam, and I am here to help you. We will work together, and I will help you learn in ways that are fun and simple. Are you ready?" The children looked uncertain but nodded slowly. Miriam began with a story about a little boy who found a magic book. She used colorful pictures and asked questions about the story. Some children hesitated, but as Miriam encouraged them gently, they started answering. Soon, even the shyest students were reading aloud with confidence. Next, Miriam moved to math. She noticed a boy named Tariq who often avoided answering questions in class. She called him over gently. "Tariq, I know math can be tricky sometimes. Let us solve some problems together. You will see how simple it can be." Tariq looked hesitant but slowly joined her. Miriam used small objects for counting and games to make the problems engaging. By the end of the session, Tariq had solved several problems correctly and smiled with pride. Miriam realized that patience and encouragement could change even the most hesitant student into a confident learner. During the next session, Miriam faced a group of students who were very restless. They constantly whispered and moved around. Miriam calmly asked them to gather in a circle and participate in a group activity. She divided the students into small teams and asked each team to solve a simple puzzle. At first, the children were noisy and distracted, but Miriam remained calm and guided them step by step. Slowly, they started to focus, helping each other and working together. By the end of the activity, all students had completed the puzzle, and their faces were filled with excitement. Miriam smiled. She knew that teaching was not just about lessons, but about creating trust, cooperation, and enjoyment in learning. As the day progressed, Miriam noticed another challenge. Some students were resistant to change. They were used to a routine and felt uncomfortable with her methods. Miriam remembered how she had once faced similar challenges with Amir. When he was hesitant to try new ideas, she spoke gently, explaining why learning could be different and interesting. She shared examples, stories, and practical exercises. Slowly, the students began to respond, showing curiosity and willingness to learn. Amir watched his mother from a distance. He felt proud of her patience and skill. He realized how much effort she put into helping every child, even those who were difficult or shy. He also learned by observing her methods, seeing how encouragement and kindness could inspire others. By midday, the principal called Miriam to check on her progress. "How is it going?" he asked with a smile. Miriam wiped her forehead and said, "It is challenging, sir, but the children are responding well. They are learning and enjoying the activities. I just need to keep their attention and encourage them." Mr. Aslam nodded. "This is exactly why we wanted to see your methods. Teaching is not always easy, but you have handled the challenge admirably. The children trust you, and that is the most important thing." After lunch, Miriam returned to the classrooms for the last session. She noticed a boy named Bilal who seemed very anxious. He often avoided reading aloud or participating in group activities. Miriam walked to him and spoke softly. "Bilal, I know learning can be scary sometimes, but I will be with you, and we will take it step by step. You do not have to be perfect. Mistakes are part of learning." Bilal looked at her with wide eyes but slowly agreed to try. Miriam guided him gently through reading and writing exercises. With each word he read and each sentence he wrote, his confidence grew. By the end of the session, Bilal was smiling, and Miriam felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She realized that even one child's progress made all the effort worthwhile. When the school bell rang, Miriam felt a wave of relief and happiness. The surprise exercise had tested her patience, creativity, and adaptability, and she had succeeded. The children had learned new things, gained confidence, and even enjoyed themselves. The principal called Miriam to his office again. "You have done an excellent job today," he said. "I am impressed by your ability to handle unexpected situations. Your methods work even with children you have never met before. You are proving that dedication and patience are as important as any formal training." Miriam felt proud but also humble. She thought about her father, who had always told her that teaching was about understanding and helping others, not just giving lessons. She realized that every challenge she faced was an opportunity to learn and grow. When she returned home with Amir, he ran to her with excitement. "Mother, you were amazing today." The children looked so happy, and even Bilal smiled. Miriam hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Amir. You helped me too." Seeing the children succeed makes everything worth it. We are learning and growing together. That evening, Miriam and Amir reviewed lessons at home. Miriam wrote notes for future sessions, thinking about new ways to engage students and overcome challenges. She felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. Teaching was no longer just helping her son. It was helping many children find confidence, joy, and curiosity in learning. As the sun set, Miriam reflected on the day. She had faced unexpected challenges, guided children she had never met before, and succeeded. She knew that life as a teacher would continue to bring surprises and tests, but she also knew that patience, love, and dedication could overcome any obstacle. Miriam had started as a janitor, unnoticed and quiet, but she had become a teacher, a guide, and an inspiration. She knew that every child she helped was a step toward a brighter future, and every challenge she faced made her stronger. That night, as Miriam and Amir prepared for sleep, they felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. The school, the children, and the town were beginning to see the incredible changes that Miriam's dedication and love for teaching were creating. The janitor who had quietly swept the hallways had now become a symbol of patience, courage, and learning. Her story was still unfolding, and the next challenges were waiting to test her further. Miriam knew that with determination and love, she could face anything, and she felt ready for the days to come. The next morning, Miriam woke up feeling a mixture of excitement and curiosity. The sun was just rising, casting golden light over the rooftops, and the streets of the town were filled with the sound of birds and the faint chatter of neighbors. Miriam prepared breakfast while Amir helped set the table with plates, spoons, and glasses. "Mother, do you think today will be different?" Amir asked as he poured juice into his glass. Miriam smiled warmly. "Every day is different, Amir. We never know what surprises may come, but we must be ready for them." After breakfast, they walked to school together. The streets were busy, with children chatting and running toward the school gates. Miriam noticed that even the teachers looked more energetic than usual. Something unusual seemed to be in the air. As Miriam and Amir entered the school, Mr. Islam greeted them with a broad smile. "Good morning, Miriam, Amir. Today is going to be very special. I have received an invitation for you from the City Education Board. They want to see your teaching methods and the way you help children." Miriam's eyes widened in surprise. "The City Education Board, sir? Really?" "Yes," Mr. Islam said. "They have heard about your dedication and the progress your students have made. They want to meet you personally. This is an incredible opportunity for you, Miriam. You may be able to bring your teaching methods to more schools in the future." Amir looked at his mother with admiration. "Mother, that is amazing. You will show them how wonderful you are." Miriam felt nervous but excited. She knew that this opportunity could change her life and help her reach many more children. She spent the morning preparing notes, exercises, and examples to show the board. Amir helped her organize flashcards and practice reading exercises together. They made sure everything was ready for the big visit. When the visitors arrived, Miriam greeted them politely. They were a group of 3 officials from the City Education Board, including Ms. Nadia, who had visited the school before. Miriam felt a mix of pride and nervousness. She wanted to show them everything she had done, but she also knew that she had to stay calm and focused. The first session was with students who struggled with reading. Miriam introduced the children and explained how she worked with them, using stories, pictures, and games to make reading fun. The children began reading aloud, and Miriam encouraged each of them with patience and kindness. The board officials watched carefully. They were impressed by the way Miriam connected with each student individually, giving attention to their strengths and weaknesses. Miriam noticed their smiles and nods, which gave her confidence. Next, Miriam moved to math. She worked with a group of students who found numbers difficult. Using simple objects, games, and visual aids, she explained addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Some students were initially hesitant, but Miriam guided them step by step. By the end of the session, the children were solving problems with excitement and confidence. Amir helped during the session, showing younger children how to arrange objects for counting. Miriam felt proud of him. His support made the session smoother and more enjoyable. After the lessons, the board officials asked Miriam to explain her methods. She spoke clearly about patience, encouragement, and creativity. She explained how she focused on understanding each student's needs and making learning enjoyable. She also shared how working with her own son, Amir, helped her develop new strategies. Ms. Nadia smiled warmly. "Miriam, your approach is incredible. You have a natural ability to connect with children and inspire them. Your patience, kindness, and creativity are rare qualities in a teacher." One of the officials added, "We have seen many teaching methods, but yours is different. You focus on the child, not just the lessons. You encourage confidence, curiosity, and teamwork. This is exactly what the education system needs." Miriam felt a mixture of pride and humility. She thought about the long hours she had spent teaching, Amir at home, the sacrifices she had made, and the love she had poured into helping him learn. Now, she realized that her efforts could reach even more children and have a wider impact. The officials asked her to visit other classrooms and demonstrate her methods with different groups of students. Maryam moved confidently, guiding students. With patience and creativity, she handled every challenge with calmness, turning difficult situations into learning opportunities. Some students were shy, others restless, and a few struggled with new concepts. Maryam adapted her methods for each child, using games, stories, and encouragement to engage them. By the end of the day, the officials were impressed beyond measure. They praised Maryam's dedication, creativity, and ability to inspire children. They discussed with Mr. Islam about inviting Maryam to share her methods with other schools across the city. After the visitors left, Mr. Islam called Maryam to his office. "Maryam, today was unbelievable. You have shown everyone your talent and dedication. The City Education Board wants you to conduct workshops for teachers in other schools. This is a rare opportunity for you to make a real difference." Maryam felt a mixture of joy and disbelief. She thought about her journey, starting as a janitor, working quietly in the school halls, and now receiving recognition from the City Education Board. It felt surreal. When she returned home with Amir, he ran to her excitedly. "Mother, they were so impressed. You will teach other teachers too." Maryam hugged him tightly. "Yes, Amir. This is a big opportunity, and together, we will continue to help children. I want to reach as many students as I can, just like I have helped you." That evening, Maryam and Amir reflected on the day's events. They discussed new ideas, activities, and methods to make learning even more enjoyable. Maryam realized that this opportunity was not just for her. It was for every child who needed guidance, patience, and encouragement. As night fell, Maryam looked out of the window, feeling proud and inspired. She thought about the children she had helped, the challenges she had faced, and the journey that had brought her here. She knew that the road ahead would be demanding, but she also knew that love, patience, and dedication could overcome any obstacle. Amir, noticing his mother's thoughtful expression, whispered, "Mother, you are amazing. I am proud of you." Maryam smiled and held him close. "And I am proud of you, Amir. You have been my partner in this journey. Together, we can make a difference in many lives." That night, Maryam went to bed with a heart full of hope. She knew that the unbelievable opportunity she had received was only the beginning. The City Education Board's invitation could change her life and the lives of countless children. She felt ready for the challenges, excited for the possibilities, and determined to continue making a difference. The janitor who had quietly swept the hallways had now become a symbol of hope, courage, and inspiration. Her story was still unfolding, and the best parts were yet to come. Maryam understood that sometimes life's most unbelievable moments came from patience, love, and dedication. She and Amir drifted to sleep that night with dreams of a brighter future, knowing that their journey together was only beginning. The next days would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new ways to touch the lives of children and teachers alike. Maryam had become more than a janitor. She was a teacher, a guide, an inspiration, and now an ambassador of learning. And she knew that with determination and love, nothing could stop her from helping others reach their full potential. The following week was unlike any other for Maryam and Amir. Word of Maryam's teaching success had spread across the city, and she was invited to conduct a workshop for teachers from several schools. Maryam felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness, but Amir held her hand firmly as they prepared to leave. "Mother, this is amazing." Amir said, "You will teach so many people today." Maryam smiled and nodded. "Yes, Amir, today we will share what we know. But remember, it is not just about teaching. It is about inspiring others to help children the way we do." At the City Hall, the room was filled with teachers, principals, and education officers. Maryam stood at the front, feeling a little nervous. She saw faces filled with curiosity and expectation. Some teachers were skeptical, others eager to learn. She took a deep breath and began, "Good morning, everyone." Miriam said warmly, "I'm here to share simple ways to help children learn. Every child is unique. Some are shy, some are restless, and some struggle with lessons. But every child has the potential to succeed if we guide them with patience, encouragement, and love." Miriam started with reading exercises. She demonstrated how using stories, pictures, and simple questions could make children enjoy reading. She invited a few teachers to participate and observe how even shy students could engage. When approached kindly, the teachers watched closely, taking notes and asking questions. Next, Miriam moved to math. She showed how games, objects, and teamwork could make difficult concepts easier to understand. Teachers tried the exercises themselves, realizing how effective Miriam's methods were. They could see that the children she taught were not only learning lessons, but also gaining confidence and curiosity during the session. Miriam shared examples from her work with Amir and other students. She explained how patience, encouragement, and adapting to each child's needs made learning enjoyable. The teachers listened intently, inspired by her dedication and practical methods. Ms. Nadia, who was present, nodded approvingly. "Miriam, your approach is exceptional. You do not only teach lessons, you teach life skills. Confidence, teamwork, and curiosity are equally important. These are the qualities every teacher should encourage in students." As the workshop continued, Miriam invited teachers to ask questions. One teacher asked, "How do you handle students who are very shy or afraid to make mistakes?" Miriam smiled gently. "Shyness is not a problem. Every child needs encouragement and small steps to build confidence. We must celebrate every small achievement. Mistakes are part of learning. If a child is afraid, we guide them patiently and show them that mistakes are okay." Another teacher asked, "How do you keep restless students focused?" "Restless children have energy," Miriam explained. "We use games, activities, and teamwork. We channel their energy into learning. When children are involved and having fun, they focus naturally." By the afternoon, the workshop had reached its peak. Teachers were excited, inspired, and eager to apply Miriam's methods. Some approached her individually, thanking her and asking for advice. Miriam realized that the small lessons she had used with Amir and her students could now reach hundreds of children across the city. Amir, who had been quietly observing, whispered to his mother, "Mother, they are all learning from you. This is unbelievable." Miriam hugged him. "Yes, Amir, and it is all because we started small. Step by step, every child, every lesson, every effort counts." At the end of the workshop, the City Education Board officials presented Miriam with a certificate recognizing her as an outstanding educator. They praised her dedication, creativity, and ability to inspire children and teachers alike. Miriam felt a wave of joy and humility. She had never imagined that her quiet work in the school corridors would lead to such recognition. On their way home, Amir held Miriam's hand tightly. "Mother, today was amazing. You helped so many people, not just students." Miriam smiled. "Yes, Amir, but the work is not over. There are still many children who need help. Today was a step, and tomorrow we will take another." Back at home, Miriam and Amir sat together, reflecting on the day. Miriam thought about the students she had helped, the challenges she had faced, and the journey that had brought her here. She realized that life had changed in ways she could never have imagined. From being a janitor, unnoticed and quiet, she had become a teacher, a guide, an inspiration, and now a mentor for other educators. That night, Miriam prepared lessons for the next day, thinking of new ways to help her students grow. Amir joined her with a notebook full of questions. Together, they practiced reading and math exercises, laughed, and dreamed of the future. Days turned into weeks, and Miriam's influence continued to grow. She visited other schools, guided teachers, and helped children discover their potential. The methods she had developed in her own home and schools spread across the city, creating a ripple of positive change. Students became more confident, teachers became more inspired, and learning became enjoyable. Miriam noticed something remarkable. Children who had once struggled to read, write, or solve problems were now eager to participate. Shy students were speaking confidently, restless students were engaged in group activities, and the classroom atmosphere was filled with energy and curiosity. Miriam felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Every small effort she had made was now transforming lives. Amir continued to learn alongside his mother. He helped younger students, practiced new methods, and discovered a love for teaching himself. Miriam saw in him the same qualities she had nurtured: patience, kindness, and dedication. She realized that her journey had not only changed her life, but also inspired her son to grow into a compassionate and responsible young boy. One evening, after a long day of teaching and visiting schools, Miriam and Amir sat by the window, watching the sunset. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the town below was calm and quiet. "Mother," Amir said softly, "I never imagined that your work could touch so many people." Miriam smiled and held his hand. "Neither did I, Amir. Life is full of surprises. The most important thing is to keep helping others, no matter how small the effort may seem. When we do that, we create something bigger than ourselves." Amir nodded, feeling proud and inspired. He realized that the love, patience, and guidance of his mother had not only changed his life, but also the lives of many others. Miriam looked around her home, thinking about how far she had come, from quiet beginnings as a janitor, to teaching her son, to guiding students, and now inspiring teachers across the city. Her journey had been unbelievable, but she knew that the journey was not over. There would be more challenges, more students, and more opportunities to make a difference. That night, Miriam went to sleep with a heart full of hope. She knew that patience, love, and dedication could overcome any obstacle. She felt proud of Amir, proud of herself, and proud of the students and teachers she had touched. The janitor who had quietly worked in the school halls had now become a symbol of hope, courage, and inspiration. Miriam's story was no longer just about her. It was about every child who had gained confidence, every teacher who had learned a new way to inspire, and every life that had been transformed. And as Miriam and Amir drifted into sleep, they dreamed of a future filled with learning, laughter, and unbelievable possibilities. They knew that together, they could face any challenge, inspire any student, and create a brighter, happier world. The unbelievable journey had reached a new beginning, and Miriam's story of patience, dedication, and love for learning would continue to inspire generations to come.